Sorry, there's just one hiccup. I'm trying to record a screen, but it ends up recording the wrong screen. Two screens here. Right. So welcome to ME210 Fluid Mechanics. Let's see how many people we have here. I've got 24 people in the group, including me, so 23. It may happen that many have not yet registered. So in case you find your friends who are not registered, they can always please share the Google Meet link with you. We'll be using the same Google Meet link for all lectures in the week. So I have made sure that that is the case for all the meetings. Let me open the lecture notes. I will see that, not you. Right. So before we start, we've done an audio visual check. Is there anyone who cannot hear me clearly because of bandwidth issues or cannot see me properly or the screen is not visible properly? Please raise your hand or speak up. Right. So it seems that everybody is happy with the audio visual system. So let's start. So this is 210 Fluid Mechanics. So this is one of the core courses you have in Mech-Eng curriculum. I will tell you a lot of stuff, introductory stuff today. So the first thing, we'll talk about a couple of things. One is what is fluid mechanics? Okay. What does this course contain? Okay. The next question we'll address is why fluid mechanics? Okay, so what is the use of fluid mechanics for mechanical engineers? Okay. Although I can answer this question in a more general sense, but the audience here is there anyone who is not from mechanical engineering or will not be in mechanical engineering and still want to be in the course? Right. So that means that the audience we have here is all Mech-Eng audience. So that's a good thing. I don't have to, it doesn't make my job much more difficult. The third one is I'll talk about the mode of teaching. Okay, and we'll talk about some introductions in terms of your introduction, my introduction, and the number of lectures we'll be having per week and so on. This is mode of teaching and intros. Okay, So this will include number of lectures, who's the TA for the course, who will be helping you with tutorials and so on. Okay, we'll talk about assignments, what sort of assignments I'll be sharing with you, and how we'll be running tutorials and so on. Next, we'll talk about the grading policy, which is the most important slide in a discussion like this. We'll talk about the grading policy, and we'll also talk about the exam portal. Since it's a non-conventional examination, at least for me, and you probably are quite comfortable with this kind of examination, online examination systems now. Right. Then we'll talk about what are my expectations from you. Okay? It's very important for you to understand what I expect from you in this course. And of course, your expectations. Okay, that's why this is very important as well. So I would want to know what you expect from this course, so that you should be happy when the course finishes. I will also talk about the prerequisites for this course. Is there anything else that you would want me to talk about today in this lecture, introductory lecture? Right. So let's talk about the mode of teaching. So we will be using Google Meet. Okay. I think that's what we started with. So everybody's happy with that, unless there is some other portal that somebody suggests. You have been through online teaching in the last semester. If there's any suggestion, I'm happy to take those. And we will be recording this and sharing those recordings with you over different forums. We'll upload that on YouTube, and that should be fine. Okay, so if there's any question about the material and so on, you can always get contact the teaching supporter. So the teaching supporter for this course is Arpit Dwivedi. Arpit, are you there?
Yes, sir. I've joined the course. Yeah.
Right, Arpit, do you want to quickly introduce yourself in less than 10 seconds?
Yeah, sure. Hello, ME210. My name is Arpit Dwivedi. I am a second year MS student here in Thermofluids in School of Engineering, and I work with Dr. Gaurav Bhutani, and my area of specialization is fluidized bed modeling.
Thank you, Arpit. Arpit, what is your email address?
S18025.
Thank you, Arpit.
Thank you.
Okay, so Arpit Dwivedi works in fluid mechanics. You can always ask interesting questions to him in terms of what he does and what sort of applications he's looking at. So he's looking at very interesting applications which are dealing with fluid mechanics, multi-phase flows. Right, and we'll also be sharing with you the lecture notes. So whatever I'm writing here, I will convert that into a PDF and share that with you over Moodle as well. So if anybody has a suggestion to add here or some concern, please feel free. Okay, so it seems that everybody is happy with this. So let's move on. Sorry, I think the video recording is going on. Again, this is the first day, so I will keep checking if everything is working fine, because we don't really want the recording to stop and then the high quality videos will not be able to upload on YouTube. Right, so let's move on. So then the next thing is introductions. So my introduction, I think most of you know me because I'm also your faculty advisor, but it doesn't, there's no harm in introducing myself again. So my name is Gaurav Bhutani. I'll be teaching you ME 210 fluid mechanics. I've been working in the field of fluid mechanics for a very long time. The first time I learned about fluid mechanics was more than 15 years ago. So it's been a lot. We have been working with this field for a very long time. Okay, so hopefully I'll be able to answer your most of the queries you have. If not, then I'll always be happy to answer it in the next session. In terms of teaching, I really enjoy teaching courses here. I've been here for the last in Mandi for the last 4 years. Along with fluid mechanics, I've been teaching other courses as well, which includes continuum mechanics, as you may have heard. Also, a lot of high performance computing. So one of the major tools we fluid mechanicists use is supercomputers. In fact, you'll be amazed to know that the development or the advancement in the field of supercomputing or faster computers in general has been motivated due to weather prediction applications, which is again fluid mechanics. So a lot of fluid mechanicists in the past have played instrumental role in actually developing high-end computing. So we do a lot of high performance computing, parallel programming. We also work with hardware, integrate that. So we do whatever it takes to get our job done, which is solving advanced problems in fluid mechanics, which requires lots of computation as well. So that is something we do in our group as well. And the kind of applications we look at in from a research perspective is avalanche flows, snow avalanches, which is those tiny particles of snow and ice which are moving down a slope, which behave like complex fluids. I'll talk more about that. Now, again, most of you are known to me. Is there anyone who is, I don't know if you checked that. Is there anyone who's not from the Mechanics department? A branch, sorry. No. So in that case, I know most of you. The names look very familiar. It's a shame that we have to do this online. If the discussion was in person, we could have talked on a more non-formal note. So I won't waste your time by asking you to introduce yourself here. Okay, so let's move on. So the next thing I would want to talk about is the grading policy. I'll come back to what fluid mechanics is, but I think let's talk about the grade first. Number of lectures. So sorry, we have 3 lectures per week. I think it's Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, if I'm not wrong. Right. So you can check the timetable yourself. If anybody has any problem with timing, they can speak up now and we can discuss that. Let me confirm that. So we have Wednesday 1 p.m. That is today. Thursday we have an 8 o'clock lecture. That's a bit more painful, early morning lectures. And Tuesday we have 9 o'clock. But I think since the timetable is kind of quite crammed already, so unless there's a major clash, we'll want to stay with the timetable. Anybody has a concern about the timings of the lectures? Right, so I think we are all happy with it. Good. So grading policy. A very important discussion. So let's have a careful talk about it. So we'll have 2 quizzes, quiz 1 and quiz 2, and each quiz will carry a 20% weight. And we'll have 1 end sim. And all these 3 events will happen during the normal timetable that we have for the semester. So it's your responsibility to check what day is the slot, what slot the course is, what day the exam for the slot is, and so on. But I'll try to email to everyone. But sometimes it happens that some registration issue or something, you don't get the emails. And now that we cannot meet in the class in person, it may happen that you may not even realize the quiz is going on. Okay, so make sure you are in touch with your friends and so on. So this only adds to 70%. We also have 3 minor quizzes, which we'll call quiz A, quiz B, and quiz C. Okay? And these will be 10% each. These quizzes A to C have dual purpose, and one of the major purposes it solves is for me to get a feedback. When you attempt a quiz and you are able to, there's one problem nobody can do, and still you are attending classes and going to the lectures, it seems that probably I'm not doing the job properly in teaching that. So it gives a good feedback to me, and then I can improve my teaching methods along the semester. Okay, and the major quizzes, quiz 1, 2, and NSEM, they are mostly to evaluate you rather than evaluating me. So there, the focus is on your performance. But of course, we do take feedback from those as well. Okay, it's very granular, and the good thing about this granular grading policy is that sometimes you have issues, you can't access the lecture notes and so on. So for some reason, if you cannot do well in a quiz, you don't lose a lot. I'm not saying that if you have issues, you don't tell that to me and we don't sort it out. But in case you don't feel motivated enough to attend a couple of lectures and you have a quiz, then you only lose 10% rather than losing a significant amount of credit for the course. Okay, all the quizzes will be held on Moodle. Okay, the quizzes A to C will be completely objective. And the quizzes 1, 2, and NSEM, they will have a mix of objective and subjective. Okay, negative marking and so on, I'll discuss that later. That is something that I don't need to discuss right now. But this is the major examination policy. We'll also be proctoring you through Google Meet. So what that means is you will have to be present over Google Meet with your videos on and audios off during the exam time, and then use Moodle to attempt the exam. Is there anyone who has concern about the grading policy or would want to add something here? Great. So, well, this is the most critical discussion. So I'm happy that we are done with this. Huh? Good. You are a very good class. You agree with the grading policy at once. Right. Next is assignments and tutorials. So we will be giving you well, one assignment per quiz. Okay, that does not mean whatever is in the assignment will come in the quiz. It's just to track the number of assignments. So you will have a total of 6 assignments in this course. Okay, they are not graded. Okay, they are just problem sheets for you to practice and do tutorials. So I'll call it 6 tutorial sheets. So we'll try to give tutorial sheets to you a week before the quiz. Okay, again, these are just for reference. Usually what I've seen is that when you're solving the tutorial sheet, that is when you start revisiting the lectures and the understanding improves much better. So since this is 1 week before the quiz, so that gives you the opportunity to revise the content during that 1 week. Okay. Sorry. I messed up something. Right. Then my expectations from you. One of the major things I expect from you is to learn fluid mechanics sincerely. This is not one of those courses that you can take lightly, because the whole engineering, forget about mechanical, the whole field of engineering has got a significant contribution from fluid mechanics. And fluid mechanics is something that all the engineers learn in one form or the other. But for mechanical engineers, it is one of the most important subjects. I'll give you lots of applications soon, but what I expect from you is to sincerely learn this. Okay, this may appear to be challenging at times because of the mathematical understanding you need for theoretical ideas, but stay with it. Okay, I'm always happy to help you with those mathematical ideas if they don't make sense, okay, but don't leave it. Okay, don't just give up. Just stay with it. Try to grasp as much as you can, and you will slowly see that your understanding will start developing, and you will start appreciating the idea. It may happen that an idea is you learn an idea in nth lecture, but the clarity comes in n plus fifth lecture or something. That is okay. Okay, but do stay with it. Do not give up. And from your interviews and job perspectives and becoming employable in the future, this is one subject that every employer will expect you to know. Even if you, I mean, I've interviewed people in the past in various companies, and when I was working in the industry for a couple of years, and I used to interview people not for the kind of work they're expected to do, but the kind of work they have done in the past in their education. Because when I interview someone for a finance job and they are a mechanical engineer, I would want to make sure that they are good mechanical engineers, because now they'll be financiers or whatever that thing is called, and they have to be good here. There may be days they're not motivated in this job, but if they have the attitude to do well in whatever they do, then I'll be very happy. Okay, of course, I want them to be smart, and all of you are smart, but do have the motivation to stay with something, especially at the times when you don't like it. And there will always be times when you get bored with something, but do stay with it. Okay, that is something all the employers expect from you. Fluid mechanics is so fundamental that it comes up in almost all the interviews. Okay, so this is what my major expectation is. Of course, it's also expected from you to do well in the exams and so on, but that automatically happens if you do give a sincere effort. And of course, rather than just cramming up the stuff that is that I am saying, also try to relate it to the real world that you see around you. If I talk about pressure drops and drags and so on, try to relate it to what it means in the real world. When sometimes I see that in the morning the pressure in that tap, the water pressure is very low. There's not much water coming out of it. Or the volume flow rate, I mean, amount of water coming per unit time or in 1 second is very less. So what has that to do with the equations of drag that I'm learning in this course? Try to relate that. That is something which is extremely important for an engineer. If you work in the factory or some large industrial plant, these companies pay you a lot of money. They will expect you to have that common sense that is constantly evolved as you have learned more subjects. Please relate to the ideas to the real world. The ideas are extremely important and they must be related to the real world. Okay, so these are my expectations. Now the floor is open to all of you. What you expect, what you are coming up with in terms of expectation, and I'll note that down so that I make sure that those are also satisfied. I'm sure somebody, there's people used to say good grades, give me O. I'm sure you have expectations. What do you expect? Nothing? No, you are not looking forward to good grades? Okay, no problem.
So we hope to get lecture slides that will be easy to understand. Like when we revise it on the time of quizzes, it will be brief and easy to understand.
Right. Definitely. So we will share with you the lecture notes in the form of a PDF document. All the lecture notes will be available over Moodle as PDFs. Any other expectations from you? Right. So that's okay. I mean, if you realize something later, please do feel free to give me a shout. Right. So the next topic is for today's discussion is textbooks and materials. Again, very important. So the textbook for this course is this. Let's see if you can see this. Okay, so this is Fluid Mechanics by F.M. White. So that will be the textbook for this course. Plenty of copies available in the library. I think the library also has an ebook available. You shouldn't have troubles finding that. Then we have a couple of reference books as well. Okay, Fluid Mechanics is, as I said, it's a very common core subject in engineering. So we have lots of reference books as well. I'll write down a couple of them in no order of preference for the people who would want to explore further. So one's called Munson. I think that's Japanese name. Munson Young and Okishi. I'm not sure if the spellings are correct. Okay, so that's the three authors in this book. There's plenty of different revisions available, so you can try these as well. There is a bit advanced book by Kundu and Cohen. Okay, again, extremely good all over the world. A very, very famous book, but that's a bit advanced. So if you would want to explore some ideas in a bit more depth, I'll definitely recommend this one. There is a book by K. Muralidhar. Again, I forgot the name. I think it's called Advanced Fluid Mechanics. Okay, again, a bit advanced. So explore it at your own adventure. Then see, there is a book by G.K. Batchelor. Okay, this I'll call extremely advanced. But again, if you want to show off to someone who is doing advanced fluid mechanics work or teaching, it's always good to talk about this word G.K. Batchelor. Even if you're not even read a single page, it's said that people who are doing fluid mechanics research or teaching or work, only a couple of handful of them have ever been able to read and understand this book. But extremely rewarding if you can understand. It's extremely compactly written. But again, at your own adventure. Then we have a book by Schlichting. Okay, it's very good for learning about boundary layers. In fact, the book is called Boundary Layer Theory. Right. Again, these are all reference books. I'm just if you want to explore. And then we have a beautiful book by Van Dyke. I, in fact, bought a copy of that for you to look at. So this book by Van Dyke is simply has pictures in it, nothing else. It has lots and lots of pictures. Looking for a port to connect. So the book is titled An Album of Fluid Motion. Okay, let me share this screen with you. Can you see the screen now? It's pictures like this. This book was written, I think, quite long ago, but it's one of its kind. It has got beautiful pictures of real fluid mechanics phenomena, and you will see that when you start learning about fluid mechanics, you would just love these pictures because they'll make so much sense. The ideas will be so much clear when you go through these pictures. And these are all done at a time when experimentation was extremely expensive and also very difficult. The kind of sensors we have these days were not available at that time. Okay, so I would definitely recommend that when you're getting bored to browse this book. Right, so we are back to the.
Excuse me, sir. Could
Yes,
you
sir.
share? Could you share the link of the textbook if you have, so that it'll be easier for us to find and no confusion in the versions.
Definitely, sure.
Thank you, sir.
Right, so as I stated earlier, I'll be sharing reading assignments with you. So reading assignments means that once we go through a lecture, I will share the corresponding sections from the book that will go hand in hand with those lectures in case you would want to explore that later. But these reading assignments will be from the textbooks. So I'll tell you which section of the book you have to read for a given lecture. Yeah, plenty of YouTube videos, websites. There is a website called FIFD. I'll not expand it, but you can figure out yourself. It's a very nice website to look at videos of fluid mechanics phenomena. So this is the latest work that's being done. Again, beautiful videos. There's been a very classical relation between fluid mechanics and the basic theory of fractals and so on. So do explore that. Right, so on Moodle, you will have lecture notes available. You will have link to recordings. Okay. We'll have the cleaned version with better quality audio and video. You will have the assignments or problem sheets, and you will have the reading assignments. I may also put up some PDFs in case that is required. Right. So let us talk about, before we talk about what fluid mechanics is, let us talk about why fluid mechanics. Because you have some idea as to why what fluid mechanics is. So why fluid mechanics? It's a very important question. Let's think of applications. Okay, turbo machinery, aeroplanes, rockets. All of them have, at the heart of them is where you have fluid mechanics. Okay? Turbo machinery. So you have these gas turbines. You have pumps. You may not realize there's lots of pumps around you. Compressors. Okay? They are there in cars and automobiles. Then these gas turbines are there in aeroplanes. They are there in land-based turbine engines for producing power in power plants. Okay, then we have some very basic applications. For example, pipes that you see around you. Simple plumbing. This is every day. You can't live without water. You can't live without these things. But we don't appreciate that. So these are some very basic applications of them. Then some more exotic applications of fluid mechanics is the flow of magma. There is magma in the earth, below the Earth's crust. So if you want to understand how that magma flows and predict lots of interesting things out of it, you can do that. Snow avalanches. Okay, all these engineers designing protection structures and so on from snow avalanches, landslides. Okay. Then you have something called a glacial lake outburst flood. Okay. These are again, you have been hearing about it recently in Uttarakhand, in the Chamoli, Tapovan in Chamoli. Then you have heard about the Choravari lake that flooded Kedarnath in 13, I think. So these are called glacial lake outburst floods. Again, very, very critical for the mountainous regions. Floods in general. Then you have a field called microfluidics. All these advanced liquid cool processors you hear about. Who's made those possible? Okay. Mechanical engineers. We are the ones who do all those microfluidic channels that extract heat from those processors, which make it possible to do lots of floating point operations per second. So semiconductor cooling. Okay, at one stage you'll have to stop me, otherwise I'll just keep on going with the applications. Huh? So many of them. Then there are lots of other applications of one is called lab on a chip. Okay. You have these sensors for checking body sugar level. We don't appreciate that, but if there's anyone in your family who's got diabetes and checks sugars regularly, all they have to do is they have to, nowadays you have equipment available that tiny things, you just touch it on your skin, you won't even feel the prick now, and you just put it on a sensor which is connected to your phone's USB, and that gives you a number on the screen in the app. Just touch it here and then touch it on the sensor which is connected to the phone jack. It gives you the number. That's it. That's all possible because you have these tiny channels which do some experimentation and then calculate the sugar levels, and then there's some sensors take that and convert that information into digitized information and then prints it. So fluid mechanics is again very critical for that. HVAC systems, heating, ventilation, air conditioning, everything, again very common. We can't just live without it these days. Automobiles. I'll stop writing, otherwise I'll just fill up this page. So aerodynamics, you want cars which run on lesser fuel, more efficient on fuel. So you want an aerodynamic design. So it's the design of the body of the engine of the car or scooter or rocket. The flow of fluid, the flow of fuel that happens inside the engine, the mixing of fuel and air. Again, that is just lots of work that goes on. Drones that flow around you. Mixing that happens in industrial applications for producing any kind of food products you can think of. Hydropower production, wind power production, fuel cells, flow batteries, flow in human bodies, for example. Swimming applications, pick up any sport, it has fluid mechanics in it. Weather prediction. And ships, missiles, rockets, air you breathe, and so on. So, okay, so we appreciate that there's lots of fluid mechanics around. So it is important to learn fluid mechanics. Good. Now we don't have much time, so I will briefly answer the question. Now, what is fluid mechanics? We'll have plenty of time in this course to talk about it. But fluid mechanics, mechanics is split in two words. One is called statics and one is called dynamics. You know about this. So static is if you have a dam which has lots of liquid in it, lots of water in it. So that is fluid statics. Okay. Dam design, for example. If I want to design a new dam, I have to calculate the forces that will be on the walls of the dam, so that the hydrostatic forces, only because of pressure. But it may also happen that sometimes you have a big rock falling in the dam water because there's some landslide happen. So that creates a splash, and that splash will result in a very large dynamic force. And I also have to predict that dynamic force. Okay, so that is coming in the dynamics part. The dynamics is whenever the fluid is moving, I would want to analyze what effect this causes. As engineer, as a mechanical engineer, I want to know the, in most cases, I want to know the force due to moving fluids. If there's a pipe and there is water flowing in it, and the pipe is 40 meters long from one end of the campus to the other, how big a pump I need to be able to produce a good flow rate at the other end? Okay, so what is the resistance the pipe provides to the flow of liquid? Okay, so this is what we learn in fluid mechanics. We learn how the fluids flow and how that kind of flow is related to the forces it causes on the structures. So that is the most important idea we want to understand. So if the car is moving in ambient air, you can assume that the air is moving against the car. They are very similar ideas. So how much of a force is the air exerting on car? What is the amount of drag? What will happen if I change the shape of the car? Will it result in a lesser drag or larger drag? Okay, what are the components of drag? One is because of pressure, one is because of friction, and so on. When you talk about nozzles, for example, in rockets, how can I design more efficient nozzles so that the amount of lift or the amount of thrust that the rocket gets is maximized? So this is what fluid mechanics is. Learn about, predict the forces. And in statics, we do a lot of, the statics is mostly a bit less interesting than the dynamics. So most of the discussion we'll have in this course will be around the dynamics part. Statics, we'll just spend one lecture in this whole course on statics. You have learned a lot of statics in the past. Civil engineers do a lot of discussion on this, but we'll also have all the understanding to do the discussion, except that we are not that much interested in making dams. We are more interested in cars and automobiles and so on. Okay, what is the fundamental behind fluid mechanics? It's mechanics after all. So are the Newton's laws of motion valid? Yes, very much it's okay. So Newton's laws of motion are valid. They work. So if they work, then the mechanics part we already understand. It's just a matter of learning a different perspective. So we learned about, let's say you have a ball, you apply a force on it, the ball accelerates. Force equals mass time acceleration. The same happens for fluid as well. If you have some amount of fluid, you apply some force on it, the fluid will accelerate. Force equals mass time acceleration. But that is true for some amount of fluid. But in fluid mechanics, we're not interested in a particular amount of fluid. We're interested in the fluid that flows through a given spatial volume. You may have heard control volumes. Okay, I'm interested in some region of the pipe rather than interested in the fluid that is moving through the pipe. So if I fix my coordinate system as a fixed to a spatial volume, then the analysis, when I do the mathematical analysis, it becomes a bit more complicated. Okay, we'll talk about these ideas further. So Newton's laws of motion are still valid. So don't worry that you'll have to learn a new field of physics. It is just a different kind of perspective that we'll give you, and lots of application, and how that the stuff that we learn will be related to those applications. Okay, so we'll stop here today because we're out of time. I'll continue the discussion on the introduction in the next lecture. If there's any question, I'll be happy to answer.